tonight at the Virginia Department of Corrections, Red Onion State Prison. To accept this call, press 0.
This is Randall Via, and I'm currently serving 1,214 years for capital murder in Red Onion State Prison in the state of Virginia in the USA. This is my podcast, Red Onion Randy. I hope you enjoy listening to me. Today, I'm going to discuss where I would like to live. Question was just presented to me. If I had my freedom, where would I like to live? Would it be the city? Would it be the country, the suburbs? Driving around in a Winnebago or living out the side of a van? Which is, it's an interesting question because, I see pros and cons in every aspect of the different geographies to live in. And I guess my answer would be depending on what I do with my life. My goals are, once I get out of prison, I get on my feet, and by no means is this going to be easy, and I don't expect it to be, but I want to go into acting, and not for the money. Most people think when they go into acting, that's what they want. They want the fame and the fortune and the mansions, and I don't really want none of that stuff. I wouldn't mind the fortune. It'd make life a little bit easier, especially with my penchant for, or my desire for traveling, of course. But see, the reason why I want to go into acting is because I've spent my entire life in prison, pretty much my entire juvenile life. I'd probably say about 90% of my juvenile life and 100% of my adult life in prison. Because of my violent history and my willingness and love of fighting, I've spent a lot of that in solitary confinement, trapped in a cell 24/7 for years on end. So staring at them white walls, doing the same routine day in and day out, I can't have a normal 9-to-5 job. If I had to flip burgers for a living or work on an assembly line for a living, doing the same thing over and over again, I'd blow my brains out. I couldn't live like that. So for me, acting is more than just a vocation. It's a freedom from doing the same thing day in and day out. It allows me to be a different character, for different movies or TV shows or whatnot. So for that, starting off, when I get out of prison, the first place I'm going to is my brother Linwood's. I'll stay with him and his wife and their son for hopefully no longer than 30 days or more. I want to get my own place pretty quickly because, I've been dependent upon others basically my entire life. I've never had true independence. So for me, getting that place of my own, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a trailer or, a house or whatnot, that is a huge, huge deal for me because then I can okay, look, I have freedom. I have true freedom now. I can be myself. I can decorate the place the way I want to. I can live the way I want to. I can, I don't have to rely upon anybody else to feed me or put a roof over my head or put clothes on my back. I'm no longer a child. I'm 43 years old and I've never had my own place. I've never had my own space. The only space I have is in my daydreams, in my imaginations. So I'm really looking forward to answering this question, not just over the phone through a podcast, but in real life, actually walking it out and going shopping and seeing different places that I might be interested in. But once I get on my feet, my first stop will be Edmond, Oklahoma. Though I don't necessarily plan on relocating there, but that's where the headquarters of my church is located, or, the church I hope to be a part of someday. So I want to go and spend some time there. So my first place of my own is more than likely going to be an apartment in Edmond, Oklahoma. And after a month or two of that, I will transition to Hollywood or, LA, that surrounding area. And I'm probably not going to want a place downtown. One, because 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be able to afford a place downtown. I'll probably just wind up in some cheap, stuck together hotel along with, not hotel, but apartment building, with a bunch of other hopefuls. if I could get my dream house, money was no object. Man, that's a tough one because, like I said, if I was just going to be like an author, which is something I do want to do and it's something I am working on. But if I was just solely going to focus on being an author, it would be deep, deep in the mountains, and I would live in a log cabin. Nothing big, but nothing too small neither. Though I do kind of like some of those small houses. I've seen a few of them are really awesome looking, but decent place on the side of a mountain, thickly forested around the area. That rustic vibe, I dig that personally. That's my normal, typical style, but with the acting and living and, chasing that dream, I would prefer someplace not necessarily in the suburbs, but maybe 15-minute drive outside the city limits where it's country, but you have neighbors, but you have a little bit of land in between you and the neighbors. And I would trees all the way around. But I would kind of like, sort of like a typical English cottage in the California scene. I think that would be kind of cool. Gardens, a lot of color. I'm telling you right now, I refuse to live in a house with white walls. That's because there's so much emotional content attached to those white walls that I will always be reminded, I will always feel like I'm in prison if I'm living in those white walls. So whoever my potential mate happens to be, whoever I wind up marrying, I'm telling you right now, I'm willing to give you most of what you want when it comes to decorating and style and so on and so forth, because I know that's way more important to women than it is to men, and I'm willing to be flexible on that. But I am absolutely inflexible on freaking white walls. There will not be a white wall in that house. I'll burn that son bitch down. I promise you. You have my word on that. I hate white walls. They're institutional, and they make me sick to my stomach. I cannot stand white walls. I don't understand how people can live in such a drab, bleak, bleary setting. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I know some people think, well, it's a clean aesthetic. Man, put some color in your damn life and live. Paint is cheap. You can get you a couple of gallons for less than $20, and that's the good stuff. And painting is not hard. It's very easy to add color and brightness to your life. And this is something. Look, white walls depress you. They absolutely depress you. They close in on you. They don't add no space to it. You don't feel comfortable. You're always on edge. It affects you emotionally and mentally, staring at just white walls all the time. So, I want color, vibrant, bright colors. I would like the outside to be completely stone with like slate shingles on the roof, maybe a copper roof. I think copper roofs are pretty cool, especially when they get that beautiful patina to them. Like, the furniture would be heavy wood, but deep, thick, soft cushions that you kind of sink into. And a lot of artwork on the wall. I want to see different things. But I don't want just artwork just for artwork's sake. I want memories and emotions attached to that artwork. I will not have a television or any electronics in the master bedroom. The bedroom is for you and your woman, or whoever you're with. That's for y'all to connect. That's where y'all are supposed to be one with, to make love to. That's, you don't watch television in your bedroom. You watch television in the living room. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think life is too short to have that area filled with someone else. Like, why share that part of your life with anyone, even if it's through a television screen? I would have a strict rule, and I would live by it myself. No electronics, no phones. You can have the phone in there and you answer it if it's an emergency or something. But other than that, it's for y'all. So that's my dream home. I definitely want a little bit of a front yard and a backyard. When the kids come along, I'm definitely going to want to have a nice tree in the backyard for for a damn treehouse. Sorry, I kind of zoned out there a little bit, because every time I think about stuff like this, like I actually want to close my eyes and start building it and picturing it in my head, sort of like a little 3D model. And but that's where I would, I think that's where I would be the happiest. Like I'm in the country, I have space around me, I don't have really close neighbors, but I'm also close to the city because I want to go to like museums and restaurants. I want to go to outings. Like I've never lived. I've never been to a club. I've never went dancing. I've never been to like a night gala where you have to dress up in a nice suit, a tuxedo or something. Like I want to be able to do those things. I want to go to like a play. I want to go to an opera. So it would be a lot easier for my lifestyle. And, I want to travel a lot. Like, I don't want to just visit one or two places. Like, I want to travel to like 7 or 8 places every single year for the rest of my life. Like, I want to visit every continent, in as many countries as I can, but not just visit them for a day or two and then go on to someplace else. Like, I want to go there for at least 2 or 3 weeks. Just immerse myself in the culture and the people and the food and just get that vibe and get that sense of understanding and like world connectedness. The society is only as strong as its weakest link. And being a criminal, I'm pretty much one of the weakest links, though I've worked a lot in changing and fixing that while I've been in here. So, I want to just go and just meet people, man, and learn from people because I've said this to a couple of people before. When you meet someone, you should always take something from them of who they are into yourself, and you should always give something from who you are so they can take into themselves. Because that's how you connect with people. That's how you make the world a better place. It's by giving something of yourself to someone. If it's just a smile, if it's a compliment, if it's just hello, how are you? Or it's sitting there listening to their life story, just get some things off their chest. Or you getting some things off your chest and, the other person just listens and it helps them to feel good that you trust them enough to share it with them. Like, there's so many different ways to reach people. And I think as much as I'd love the mountains, like I am a mountain fanatic. That's literally my favorite place in the world to be, minus Red Onion Mountain. That's the only exception. I would blow this freaking mountain off the map if I could. But yeah, any place else, I love mountains, but they're just too isolated, and I no longer want to be an isolated person. I no longer want to be antisocial. Like I want people in my life. I want friends in my life. I want to go to dinner parties. I want to do like a game night. As cheesy and as stupid as that sounds to most people, like I think that would be freaking awesome to get another family together in your living room and y'all sit down and play Monopoly or just some other game like charades or Scrabble or something. Like, I think that would be super cool. Like, so for me to be able to do that, I need to be close to the city, but I don't actually want to live inside the city because all this time I've spent in prison, most people are just right on top of you. Like, you can't even fart in your cell without the guy next door talking about gross. And that's usually me, but still, it's I don't know. That's me. That's just what I want. I think that would be perfect for me if, I had my way and I had the money to make that happen. That's exactly what I would do. I mentioned in the documentary that most guys' dreams in here are to be multimillionaires, to have these $20 million, 200-room mansions and cars, Kim Kardashian with that fat ass, and blah blah blah. Like that's what they want. I don't want that. That's why, if you notice my home, like my dream home, it's not huge. It's not a mansion. It's I don't really care what size my wife's ass is. So I do appreciate some curves. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, but whatever she happens to be, I'm marrying her for her personality, not her looks. Looks, while I have to be attracted to my wife, are not the main concerns to me, because I'm not going to get stuck living with the most beautiful woman in the world and she turns out to be just a straight up stuck up bitch that I can't stand and want to murder. Especially with my history of murder. Like, that probably not the smartest move for me. I want a woman who I can live with, who I can become one with. And I want children. I want a family, because today's society, like, family, like, nobody really cares about that anymore. Like, I still think one of the most important things in the world is a traditional family. Father, a mother, and the children. You know, you have those family ideals. So that's why those desires are reflected in the home that I want, because I don't want a house. I want a home. And if I had a home, I would be just as content living in a lean-to, cooking beans over an open fire. Like, if I have the family I want, then, you know, the home I want, then it doesn't matter where I'm living. It doesn't matter how big it is, how small it is, or what it looks like. Because emotional stability is more important than financial stability. It's more important than the sense of satisfaction you get from how big your house is. I don't have a penis complex. I ain't the most well-hung bastard in the world, but I ain't the smallest neither. So I don't build my life based around my penis size, which unfortunately a lot of men do. It's about vanity at the end of the day, and I choose not to be vain no more. I choose not to build a life around me.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Focus on building a home, not a house. Don't care about what it looks like. It's irrelevant at the end of the day. But this has been Red Onion Randy. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. For those of you who listen to me on Apple Podcasts, I'd appreciate it if you would review me and rate me, preferably 5 stars, but I'll take what you can give me. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you for using GTL.